Oh, but that's not the face you guys like to see when you're checking in on what the workout's going to be. At Home Fitness with Coach A. I am obviously Coach A, and this is the YouTube channel that aims to bring you guys in gym quality coaching and workouts for your at home or garage gym needs. Now, Super Sucky Saturday. So you already know today is going to be super sucky, right? Uh, this one is again set up for us to be performed at a track, possibly a local high school, something along those lines, if we have access to it. Otherwise, we're just going to need a 400-meter route or a 400-meter loop for some running. Today, as you guys can see from the description on the YouTube video, the workout is called Coach A's Revenge. What am I revenging? Nothing. I just really like this workout, something I do on my own all the time, and I think it's going to be a good one for you guys, and one that you can kind of revert back to if you're looking for a longer conditioning type piece, but something that can and cannot be done with a significant amount of intensity, specifically if it's nice outside and you're looking to get out in the sun. So here's what we're looking at. 4 rounds. You are going to start with 50 Russian kettlebell swings. I am not expecting any of you to do those unbroken, specifically unbroken all the way through. Maybe the first round, you might pay for it if that you do that, but again, it's up to you. The intensity is up to you here. You can take your time, turn this into a half-hour workout, or you can really push yourself and try and get this done in 20 minutes. Or you can really take your time and make it a 40-minute workout. It's up to you. Second one is going to be our kettlebell pull throughs. It can be a dumbbell. I'm just putting it down as kettlebell since we only have a Russian swing. Kind of keeps it easier on how much equipment we're taking to this track. That's obviously an odd number, and we have 2 arms. So I will give you an even number overall. 4 rounds, 25 reps is going to be 100. Let's start with our opposite arms on each one. So start with the right, finish with the right on the first round, start with the left, finish with the left on the second round. Wanted to keep the numbers easy for you guys to be able to remember because you're obviously not going to have a board or something written down next to you. And if we make it 50, 26, that's just a little bit weird. We'll forget that and make it 25 anyway. So 50 swings, 25 kettlebell pull throughs, a 50-meter overhead carry right. Pop that kettlebell up. If you're at a track, possibly there's a football or soccer field there, you have the numbers or the lines marked for you. If not, think about finding that 100-meter straightaway on the side of the track that somebody would do a 100-meter dash from and do half the distance. Or even go halfway down, continue the second half with the second arm, because that's going to be the next piece, is 50 meters on the other side. Here's where the 400 comes in which case, basically wherever you guys are leaving your kettlebell at, you just run back to it, okay, assuming you have a 400-meter track. Obviously, if we're in a different country, that might be different. So 4 rounds, 50 Russian kettlebell swings, 25 kettlebell pull-throughs, a 50-meter carry overhead one arm, 50 the other, and a 400-meter run.
All right, guys, hope you guys are ready for Coach's Revenge, Coach A's Revenge. We're looking at hitting out to the track today, so if you are able to do that, I'm going to kind of explain this and demonstrate it from that standpoint, and if you're adjusting and doing it at home or something else, it should be pretty easy to make that adjustment. So, we're looking at Russian kettlebell swings, we're looking at pull-throughs, we're looking at overhead carries, and so on. If I have my kettlebell, right, keep in mind, we're talking about those Russian swings being parallel to the floor at the top. One thing you guys might want to focus on is, am I able to stay in the hips? Am I able to let that contact happen and hang out for a little bit so I can stay efficient and smooth with my rhythm, and I'm not having to force and fight to pull that kettlebell back out of there. That'll make us more efficient. We're looking at doing 200 of these. That'll make it a lot easier to be sustainable as we go through the workout. Now, with those pull-throughs, remember we're in a plank position, anti-movement in the hips and the core, so trying not to put a ton of turn and flexion back and forth in there. And then with the arm, that lat outside part of the shoulder, we're going to pull across and try and set it up for the other arm. So what that looks like is this. I prefer to bend the knees about 90 degrees, so it's going to look like a bit of a bear crawl position. Transfer 1 and transfer for 2 reps. Again, odd reps. So make sure you guys are starting and finishing with one round with right, starting and finishing the other round with the left. The overhead carry is basically just going to be an extension position. You guys are going to have the arm stacked right on top of the shoulder. Notice the shoulder is not reaching, but it is sitting as neutral as possible. Elbows locked down at extension, and we're as close to the ear as we can get. It's not a run, it's a controlled steady walk. So you guys are spending some time under tension with that overhead carry. Now that 400-meter run is going to be the last piece. Obviously, if we're on the track, we can pretty much set that up however we want. We're going to be running back to the kettlebell. If we're going to be doing it here, remember you guys can always use the time method, which is I think my 400 is about so long, I'm going to go out for half, and then I'm going to come back for half of that amount of time.
Stay tuned for movement modifications.
All right, let's talk modifications for Coach A's Revenge. We don't have a kettlebell, so we're going to slide that out of the way. I'm going to go through all the different pieces here to kind of give you guys some different varying options. So, dumbbells. I have 2 or I have 1, in which case there's 2 things we can do for the swings. I can go double arm swings, weight on the outside, loading back in the hips, driving through. That's probably the easiest one. It gives me the best chance to focus on the tension in my hips. I can go single arm dumbbell in between the hips, if that's all I'm looking at is one single weight. Obviously the pull-throughs are going to be pretty simple. It's the same thing as the kettlebell. It's even easier since I don't have to flip that kettlebell over to get to the handle. The overhead carry. If I, let's say, have 2 light ones, nothing that's super heavy that's going to be challenging for that carry, let's pop them both up. Okay, I go down 50, I come back 50 with each in the air. If it is something that's decent weight, whether we have 2 or 1, then we're going to get something out of 50. We're going to switch and go with the other 50. Okay. If we're looking at only having a barbell and plates, there's 2 different things we could do here. Actually, let me go. Well, there's 2 different things for both pieces technically. So the overhead carry is going to be the simple one. I can overhead carry a plate, or I can overhead carry the whole barbell. Now, when it comes to the Russian swing, if I feel comfortable with this, I can do swings with my plate. I technically have a couple of heavy plates over here that I like to use for farmer's carries. They have a handle on them. That would be a little bit easier to use in this context than a single bumper plate would be, but you get the idea. With the barbell, I'm going to focus on hips and hamstrings. So I'm either going to do some light Romanian deadlifts, some RDLs, or some light good mornings. In which case you're probably going to bring those reps down a pretty decent amount, by the way. 50 is going to be significant for that. If you want to go 50, by all means, give it a shot. Let's see what happens. For the pull-throughs, we can either do, in my suggestion, and this is basically just for if we're only looking at a barbell. If you guys have other stuff, you can feel free to mix it in here, but a bent over row, okay? So hinge position, doing a rows if we want to get most of the work in our lats and our upper body. If we want to get most of the work in our core, we can do a barbell rollout, which is going to be, let's see if I have enough range of motion here for this. I'm going to set the barbell up so that it'll roll like an ab wheel. And I'm going to get down on my knees, set the hands underneath the shoulders. From there, I'm going to let that barbell out using my core and lats, pull it back in. Okay, so obviously 25 of those per round is going to be significant. The rows may be a little bit easier to do that. So you guys can kind of play with the numbers from there, but there is options there. If we're only looking at having a band, I would strongly suggest either good mornings or taking the band, having anchored to something behind me, where I can do those pull-throughs, still hitting the posterior chain. And then for the pull-throughs with a band, I would strongly suggest going into a side plank and keeping it at an anchor and doing our side plank rows, so to speak. There is a way of attaching it and kind of doing a pull-through, but based on your strength, you're probably going to have a very specific resistance band be able to make that happen, and possibly even a handle to make it happen a little bit easier, and that's going to be a little bit trickier to get our hands on. So feel free to adjust it as needed. Oh, last piece, let's talk about the cardio modifications here. So if you guys are looking at other pieces of equipment, I'm going to go through men's, women's, if there is differentiation, or just overall. 400 meter run, 500 or 400 meters on the rower, 40 or 28 calories on an Airdyne assault bike, or 800 meters on a concept tube bike.